Well, hello, Nancy. It's a pleasure that you had said yes to this. Thank you very much. And I'd like to introduce you as Nancy Pickard. I hope I said that correctly. And Nancy, would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
I'd love to, and thank you for having me. I'm honored. So I am a international best-selling author of the book Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. And I'm a master integrative life coach. And I have many different modalities. I do healing your heart. I do courage. I do bigger, better, braver, reinvention, worthy, parenting, and breakthrough shadow. Breakthrough Shadow Coach is really, that's from the Ford Institute. I don't know if you're familiar with Debbie Ford or not. She's passed, but she's done great work, and she does a lot of shadow work, so that regardless of what my coaching is, what modality, why somebody comes to me, it all comes down to first uncovering the beliefs that they don't know they have from their childhood that are keeping them playing small. So we refer to those as shadow beliefs because they're in the shadow. They're not in your conscious awareness. But those beliefs rule your operating system. So as a child, they really are formed to keep you safe. But as an adult, they keep you playing small.
Sure.
So
makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, I can give you examples of what they are and everything, but basically, you know, as far as my introduction goes, I'm a shadow coach and an author, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. A shadow coach. That's really, that's not something that I have heard very much about. I've heard the term, but I've never understood what it was. I kind of had a feeling of what it was, but I didn't know for sure. So that's really interesting. How long have you been doing this?
10 years. 10 years.
Nice.
And the reason why I love this kind of coaching is that everybody gets stuck, but they don't know why they're stuck. They just know that they're stuck.
Right.
And helping them uncover the beliefs that are keeping them stuck is like their aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Now I see why I have that. Like, so for me, an example of my own shadow belief, one of my shadow beliefs was that I'm not safe alone. So that's not a belief I knew I had, but it ruled my operating system. So I was always in a relationship. I always had a million friends, and I never liked to be alone. Okay. And I didn't travel alone. I didn't go to dinner alone. I wasn't happy alone. I was always trying to fix that picture. Once I uncovered that belief at like 50 years old, yeah, I was no longer a prisoner to it. Right. And once it comes out of your subconscious into your conscious mind, number one, it loses a lot of its power. And then it loses even more power because that was a belief from your childhood. As an adult, you can see that it doesn't have legs anymore. Right. So you can work to change it. So some examples, though, of really disempowering shadow beliefs are: I'm unworthy, I'm broken, I'm unlovable, my voice doesn't matter, I need to be perfect to be loved, I need to take care of everyone else to be loved. Yeah. These are big beliefs. I need to stay quiet so people won't know I'm stupid. It's a huge one. Yeah. And they're all formed in a minute, in a second. It never even hits your conscious mind. Right. It goes right into your unconscious mind. You could be the fifth kid in a family and 10 years younger than the rest of them, and nobody asks your opinion. So you grow up thinking, my opinion doesn't matter. So or I'm not safe giving my opinion. You could have an alcoholic or an abusive parent, and ever sticking up for yourself would only get you in trouble. Right. So you make a belief that's in your subconscious that I will stay quiet, so I will be safe. Now you grow up, you get into a relationship, you're still quiet. You still don't share your beliefs. And then your partner's like, this isn't working for me. I'm with like a zombie over here. Or you're in the business world and you never share your opinions. So people don't think you have opinions. So you get passed over for job after job. And if you just opened your mouth and got rid of that disempowering belief, you'd probably keep the job.
Or be promoted.
Or be promoted,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Or if you
Okay.
don't think you're worthy
Mhm.
and you get promoted, you do something and you lose your job because that inner wounded child thinks, oh no, if they really knew me, they wouldn't want me. I'm not, this is not me. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And then you sabotage yourself so that you can prove your limitation was true.
Right. Yeah. So I would imagine you've helped quite a number of people
I have.
kind of break free, so to speak. Yeah, I bet. So tell me, you've written a book. You said you're a bestseller. Tell me about your book.
So my book is like my coaching. It's a step-by-step how to uncover your vision for what your soul wants you to be doing. You know, I climbed Kilimanjaro at 61. So I like to say, what's your Kilimanjaro? It doesn't have to be climbing a 19,000 foot, you know,
Mountain.
But what is your mountain? Is it leaving your marriage? Is it getting into a relationship? Is it moving across the country? Is it starting your own business? Is it retiring? Is it having a child alone even? You know, what is that big thing that you just don't have the wherewithal to do? And it's a step-by-step process to help you uncover the shadow beliefs and the underlying commitments that are keeping you from getting there. It's about having a growth mindset, and it's filled, every single chapter is filled with exercises so that you could buy my book. I hope you do buy my book, and you could do this step-by-step without ever hiring me as a life coach.
Right.
It's like the least expensive way to get my work.
Right.
And that's why I built the book. And then I have a workbook and courses that you could get online that are totally, you do them on your own. They're with audios. I have another one where I do 10 weeks or 12 weeks with 10 people, and there's on Zoom and everyone's together. So you're listening and learning from each other. So, or you could be with me one-on-one. So it was a vehicle for me to get the work out to the masses all over the world, to anybody who wanted to do the work on their own. Or it's a great way to first learn about me and see if this is like, oh, I need more of this.
Yeah,
you know,
because certainly a coach, you know, I'm a coach, and I know one of the really big things about coaching is that you can make things happen so much quicker for that individual, so much quicker. And, you know, yes, you can do all of this stuff on your own. You can do it. Absolutely. But you hire a coach and it goes so much quicker.
Yeah.
And you're kept on point more. So you don't kind of get down the rabbit holes and all that kind of stuff.
Totally. You have an accountability partner.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So tell me about Kilimanjaro. What prompted you to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?
Well, I was turning 60, and, you know, I used to own a personal training gym. So I am athletic. I've always been athletic. It's a big part of how I define myself. You know, some people are lawyers and they stop being a lawyer and they're like, well, who am I? Right.
Oh yeah.
Athleticism is definitely one of the ways that I feel good about myself and define myself. And so when I was turning 60, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm turning 60. You know, what am I going to do to market? You know, how am I going to prove to myself I still got it? Like it's just a number. Right. And I decided I was going to climb Kilimanjaro. I had read a book a few years earlier. It was sort of like an Eat, Pray, Love, where this woman had gone to Kilimanjaro and had such a spiritual awakening. And, you know, so that's what I wanted. And I had tried for a couple of years to find a friend to go with me, because don't forget, I used to have the belief I wasn't safe alone.
Right.
So once I uncovered that belief, in a year, I went and biked through Vietnam. A few months later, I biked in Thailand. And then 6
Wow.
months later, I went and climbed Kilimanjaro. And it was sort of like my coming out party, this is who I
Wow.
am. I can stand alone. I can do big things. I
Mhm.
am super capable and I'm safe alone. And that was what that whole year was about.
Wow. That's an amazing journey
Yeah.
to have gone through that. So this whole interview series is about fear, and
Mhm.
so I can't. I mean, along with those limiting beliefs, the shadow beliefs, there's a lot of what we would label as fear. Being afraid to step forward, to open that business, to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, to go out alone. I mean, I remember the first time I went to a movie by myself. It felt really weird.
I know.
Just
I know.
really weird. I mean, I'm okay with it. I didn't have a
Yeah.
problem with it. But if I, being okay with it and still feeling weird about it, I can't imagine what somebody must feel like who is not there. They're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know, like, how does that fear manifest itself? And then how, obviously fear and those shadow beliefs are certainly connected somehow. Can you speak to that?
Sure. So we all have fears. Everybody has fears.
Mhm.
I'm not good enough, the imposter syndrome. We have fear of success. We have fear of failure. We have fear of looking stupid. We have fear of not being enough. We all have fears. The difference is that some of us have learned to put our faith in the universe, that everything's going to turn out okay, which does not necessarily mean it's going to be successful.
Right.
It means that it's going to be okay.
Mhm.
And that whatever happens is supposed to happen for the evolution of your soul, and that there are lessons for you to learn. So if you fall, you're falling forward.
Mhm.
You've done something to make yourself proud because you've stepped out of your comfort zone and you've tried something new.
Right.
So the thing that I say about fear is not that you're going to conquer your fear, even though it's in my book, conquer your fears.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really about owning your fears and using them as a driving force to move forward. So
Okay.
anything that I'm afraid to do, I know I have to do it. If I can't, I must.
Yeah.
Because growth is on the other side. If I'm afraid to do something, it's my inner child saying, no, stay back, warning, warning, let's not grow. Let's stay right here. This is safer. This feels better. And I know I have to do it. And so I personally am really comfortable being afraid of something, because it's not like walking down, like I don't walk down a dark alley in a bad neighborhood by myself. It's not stupid fear.
Yeah.
It's really personal fear. It's fear that you're not enough. It's fear that you're going to fail. And what I say to those that are sitting on the couch, afraid to fail, or afraid to look stupid, or afraid to, feel shame. Don't you feel that from not trying? Isn't that worse? To me, wanting to have a different life and not going after it is so depressing and so disempowering. And if I can cure one person at a time from being afraid to move forward, then I'm a happy person. That's my goal. That's my passion. Because it's sad to me to watch people be so handicapped in their life from fear.
It's funny you should mention the word handicap, because I had a discussion one time with somebody. They will remain nameless and etc. But the conversation kind of went more or less that this individual was afraid of a handicapped person. This particular individual was, maybe wasn't able to move or whatever. Anyway, they were making a comment about that individual, and I turned to them and I said, are you afraid of that individual? Oh no, I'm not afraid of that individual. They're just, whatever. And I said, well, you call them handicapped, right? Oh, absolutely, they're handicapped. And I said, well, you're handicapped too. And they looked at me like I was from Mars. I said, everyone in this world has a handicap, whether it be a bias against something, or
Right.
you're limiting yourself from doing something, or, you're
Right.
handicapped too. So
Right.
join the crowd. There's
Exactly.
no need to be fearful
Yeah.
of something you don't know about.
Right.
And the fear and failure to me is literally just an opportunity to learn.
Correct.
That's,
Yeah. Real failure to me is not even trying. That's the only failure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
I would
agree.
say that is failure.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients, it's really interesting, who have been extremely successful in their life, and they're afraid to try something new
Oh, isn't that amazing? Yes.
because they've been so successful
Mhm.
that, like, what if they're a one-trick pony?
Right.
What if that was my only thing and I'm going to fail at the next thing? Or that before I was successful, I didn't care if I failed because I didn't even know any better. But now I do know better.
Now you know better.
But they're playing just as small.
Yeah.
So they actually have fear of failure and fear of success all at the same time. Like they almost are mad at their success because they don't want, I had a client who designed one of the biggest games, family games, not Monopoly, but a big game like that.
Right.
Made him $1 zillion
Right.
and made him very famous.
Mhm.
But it's also like the rope around his neck because he's afraid to try something new. What if it's not big like that?
Yeah.
What if it is?
Yeah.
And what if it's not? You've already done the big thing. Why can't you just be okay with doing some other things and maybe not being as big again, but still producing?
Right.
So I find it really interesting. I do have a lot of clients that have had success and now they're afraid.
Isn't that
Because what if,
funny?
what if
funny?
they're not as big as
Right.
they're living on the coattails of already?
So how do you I find fear manifests itself in various different ways, like in anger, or in stepping back, or various ways. Do you recognize different ways that fear can actually show itself? When you look at it, you go, is that really fear, or is that, what is that? I don't know if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I sort of do. I think it's a combination that it's either a fear or a disempowering belief.
Okay, right.
It's
Good,
one
good.
of those two
Mhm.
or both.
Do you find that the one leads to the other, like, pretty generally? So do you find that a shadow belief really leads almost automatically to a fear? Would you say that?
I would say it's an interesting question. I'm not sure I can give you a blanketed answer, but I would say most likely that the disempowering belief leads to a fear of following through. So
Okay,
if
yes,
you have a
good way of
belief
putting
that
it.
you're unworthy,
Mhm.
you're not going to want to put yourself in positions to test that out.
Right.
If you're unworthy, then I'm not going to go for the bigger job. Or if you're unworthy, I'm not going to ask for the raise. So this is a whole other conversation, but net worth and self-worth are very connected to each other. Because if you have very low self-worth, then you don't go after the bigger job, or you don't ask for having your needs met, or you work for free, or you work weekends and you have like no backbone.
Right.
So it's very connected. So I think fears and disempowering beliefs do go together. I can't say that every single fear has a disempowering belief underneath it, but one or the other is keeping you stuck. And the only way out of that is to get out of it, to take tiny, tiny little actionable steps so that you can prove to yourself that you can be accountable, that you can be successful, and that your word is golden.
Mhm.
So if you want to lose 20 pounds, start by losing 3 pounds.
Mhm.
You know, chunk it down, start to losing 1 pound. If you want a new career, then the first week, start looking on Google or, the internet and see what's out there. Like chunk each thing down to very sizable, small. There's that saying about how do you eat an elephant? One
Mhm.
bite at a
One bite at
time.
a time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Don't try to run a marathon. Like the best thing I ever did was run marathons, because you do it 1 mile at a time. Week
Mhm.
1, you run 1 mile. Week 2, you run 2 miles. Week 3, you run 3 miles. Like you definitely build up your endurance week by week by week. That's how any goal should be done.
Because that was actually going to be my next question is,
Yeah.
what can people do to turn that around? I mean, obviously the first step is to recognize what it is that's stopping you from moving forward, or that is giving you that fear. The second step then is to figure out what you need to do in order
How you
to
move forward.
do what you want to do. And then you chunk it right down into the smallest thing you could do. And I've been reading this book just recently. I was told about it so many times. It's called The One Thing. You're probably familiar with it.
Mhm.
And, the concept is choose one thing and do it.
Right.
Do it till you've
done it.
And then
Yeah.
you move on to the next thing. And, the smaller, and I'm assuming this is the way you operate too, the smaller the thing is, the better success you'll have. And
Correct.
so you build on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
over
mean,
time.
that's the beauty of a life coach, is that you're not doing the scary things alone.
Right. Right.
You've committed to somebody else that you're going to do it. And I know with my clients, this is for everybody. There are things that I'll say, oh, if I was working with a coach right now, I'd probably be getting this done a lot quicker, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is that I don't work with people who show up week after week not doing the thing they said they're going to do.
Right. Right.
I don't need your money. So unless we're both moving you forward, it doesn't work for me.
Right.
And I'll fire you.
Yep.
I'll give you your money back. I don't want to work with you.
Yep.
But so people are actually, in the beginning, a lot of times they follow through for me.
Yes.
And I'm okay
Yes.
with that.
Yeah.
They don't want to walk in with their tail between their legs saying, I don't know what happened. I didn't do it.
Mhm.
That doesn't hold water for me. So I don't care if I am your accountability partner and you're like afraid to show up on not having done it, because
Mhm.
eventually you're going to see how good it felt to follow through, and that you're starting to trust your own word, and that eventually you don't need me to be your accountability partner.
Mhm.
Nobody gets to the Olympics without a coach. It's the same thing with life.
It's true.
And if you're stuck, make yourself a priority, get yourself a coach, and get it done. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, I used to own a personal training gym, so I'm really a big hire somebody kind of person. If I just started a few years ago playing pickleball, I take pickleball lessons all the time.
I didn't
Like
know there were pickleball lessons. I didn't know that was available.
everywhere. I take them in Colorado and in California.
Oh,
Yeah, and you can
interesting.
clinics, and you can go to pickleball camp. I do it all
Oh my
because
goodness.
I always want the quickest way to be to the end game.
Right.
And so a lot of times it's not how do I get there, but who can I hire to
Mhm.
help me get there?
Mhm. Mhm. So
That's half of it.
what gets people off the couch?
Well, first step is getting out of autopilot. Like the first step is realizing that you're on the couch
Mhm.
and that you're really not happy and that you're not giving back. You're not really utilizing the gifts that you have. And that there is something you really want to do and you just can't seem to get it done.
Mhm.
You won't even notice that until you get out of autopilot and start to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? Am I happy?
Mhm.
What would make me happier? What would success look like for me? What is your Kilimanjaro? Because it doesn't, again, it's not my Kilimanjaro, it's yours.
It's yours, yeah.
And it could be, losing 5 pounds. It could be whatever it wants. Sometimes this is an interesting story, but one week I had a client whose action step was to drink more water.
Right.
And in my head, I'm thinking, that's your action step. But that was her action step. And she
Mhm.
came back the next week and she hadn't done it.
Right.
And the following week, she called me. She had been in the emergency room because she had a kidney stone. And what did they tell her?
Drink more
The
water.
universe is always trying to support you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she said, I'm in, I get it. I'm on board now.
And you bring up another good point is sometimes it takes a traumatic event or something to get somebody off that couch,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate,
Yes.
figure it out now before that happens.
The universe is always giving you warning signs. And
Yeah.
if you don't listen to the lessons, you get bigger and bigger lessons.
Right.
I mean, I've had it happen to me a number of times, so I'm not just making this up. I know it's true.
Mhm.
And I basically say, universe, I'm paying attention. Give me the small lessons. I don't need the big ones anymore.
Right.
And so don't wait for something huge. There's that thing about if you don't listen to your body won't listen to you. That was an example with that woman.
Mhm.
I'm an over-exerciser. When I over-exercise, I end up with either getting sick or adrenal fatigue or something, some sign from the universe that says you are not paying attention.
Right.
And so I try really hard to set boundaries with what I will and will not do. Most people set boundaries around exercising. I set boundaries around not doing more than 2 things in a day in terms of exercise. That's my boundary. Because otherwise I could spend if I have a free day, I could spend it exercising.
Right. Yeah, actually, there's a guy who comes to the gym every day, and we were talking, and he said he goes to he goes to one gym in the morning, and then mid-afternoon he goes to another gym, and then a little later on he works out at home while he's watching the news or whatever.
He's addicted to exercise.
He is. And the thing is, his comment to me is what else have I got to do? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I could think of tons of things you could do. Well, he says, I work in my flower bed. I do this, I do that. I get it, but man,
but it's how he spends his time. Listen, I'm a big, I get him.
Yep. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And thank God I'm working because it does help me balance that out.
Right.
There was a 9-year period between the gym and life coaching that I didn't work, and I exercised. I would go hiking with this person, and then I would go biking with this person, and then maybe I would take a yoga class. That was literally how I spent my day.
Wow.
And that never happens anymore because I'm now doing other things. I mean, eventually I got out of autopilot and realized I'm not giving back. I have more gifts than I'm not utilizing. I was meant to be bigger than this and do more and help more people.
Right.
And here I am.
That's awesome. That's great. That's really good. Yeah. Fear is universal. Like we kind of talked about that. It doesn't matter if it's a child or an older person, or, it doesn't matter what your culture is. There is fear is part of your life, whether you like it or not. And as I say, it's totally universal. And so, what I noticed was a lot of people are more fearful now than they have been in a long time. And they've been not able to manage that fear or figure out what to do with it. A lot of people are labeling it something else, like anxiety or whatever, oh, I have no fear, but I just had a panic attack,
Right.
like, that's fear.
Right. What's under the anxiety is the fear. Right.
Exactly. And so that's part of what I wanted to do here, was to, help people recognize fear for what it is. And then what do you do about it? How do you work with it? How do you, and I agree totally with you. To me, like, fear is a friend. It's actually
Correct.
a friend.
Right.
It's not something to be afraid of.
Right. It's a guide. It's there to guide you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we need to listen to it more. And again, it's the same thing that you were just talking about. You've got to listen to your body. You've got to listen, because it's a very physical reaction that you get from fear, and you need to listen to that. It doesn't.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that my book, Bigger, Better, Braver, I use that with my grandchildren. What did you do today that was bigger, better, braver? Like, I don't talk about success. I talk about what did they do that they were afraid to do and did it anyway.
Right.
So they'll call me up and they'll be, Nana, I was bigger, better, braver today. And I'm like, really? What did you do? And when I work with my parenting clients, I'm all over that. Like, you want to teach your children to be resilient. You want to let them fall and fail and be really engaged in the process of the learning, and that it's okay to fall as many times as you want. What are you learning from that? And how brave you were, how courageous that was for you to try that. And so bigger, better, braver is my mantra. It's my way of life. And I want parents to do that with their children. And then I want them to do it with themselves, so their children get to see them. I have my clients have conversations at the dinner table saying, I tried something today and I failed. I can't believe I failed, but I did. But this is what I learned from it. And you know what? I'm going to get back out there and try it again. That's what you want your children to be learning. Right.
Yeah, and that would certainly help them get through that hesitation, like, I don't know if I can do this, but you know what?
Right.
What would, there's that concept of pain, right? Where, is the pain of not doing something greater than the pain of doing something?
Correct.
And if you get that figured out, chances are you're going to move forward.
I agree.
Yes, they're good.
And listen, I still am afraid to do things. I thought I was getting a steroid shot on my elbow yesterday.
Okay.
And for a whole week, I'm thinking, I need this appointment to get here because I'm so like, that's going to hurt me so much.
Right.
And I just need to be on the other side of it. So that's the other thing about fear. Just step in. The fear dissipates the moment you take action.
Yeah.
Just step in. That's honestly, that to me, that's the secret to fear. Step in and then it's gone.
And another coach I was talking to, she said, if there's something fearful, and you said, I think you said this earlier too, is I know that if I'm afraid of something, that's the thing I have to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was you that said that.
Yeah, I did say it.
Another coach said that as well.
Because the thing is, if your imposter syndrome starts to say, oh, that's not me. I'm not that person. I'm not big enough. I don't know enough. If you step in and do the thing that you think you're not good enough to do, you will be good enough to do it. And then you will be that person that did that. And now you know that you can be that.
That's true. It's very reinforcing, eh?
Yeah, but you don't know that from the couch.
No, no, you don't. No, you don't.
And the saying that the last person in the race still beats the man on the couch.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, let's end there then, because I love that. That was an
That's a good saying.
Quote. It is definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate you stepping up here. This is awesome. I know that people are going to get a lot out of this. So just thank you very much.
Thank you.
Extend your viewing time by registering as a VIP. For only $47, you get permanent access to all the videos to watch at your leisure. Plus, entry into our exclusive draw for one ebook by Chantal Girardi, or one of 2 books written by Adrian Hanks or Nancy Pickard, or one of 2 consultation sessions with either Liz Clifton or me, Heather O'Reilly. Secure your spot by Friday, July the 8th by clicking the link below.